In previous days, Sayadaw explained that by being mindful of the nama-rupa objects with aim and effort, by noting them when there is sustained mindfulness, Khanika Samadhi, momentary concentration, strengthens. When Khanika Samadhi, momentary concentration, strengthens, the noting mind falls collected on the object, and the yogi discerns nama, rupa, mind and matter, and yogi develops Dhamma Vavatthana Jnana, in other words, nama, rupa, paricchetta jnana, discerning nama and rupa distinctly. If the person has not discerned the nama rupa, one can still hold the wrong view that there is jiva atta, the living soul, in the nama rupa. Especially, people believe that in nama rupa, or especially in nama, there is jiva atta, the living soul. And in the Sanskrit, they call it jivatama, and they believe in that there is a living soul in the nama rupa. By noting the presently arising object with aim and effort, when the mindfulness is strong and when the mind becomes calm and connected, Khanika Samadhi, momentary concentration, becomes strengthened. The noting mind falls collected on the object, and at first yogi discerns rupa, materiality. Yogi comes to discern the breath, materiality, and yogi discerns nama, mentality. One cannot know both the nama rupa in the same time, but one discerns the rupa and nama one after another. Discerning the nama rupa, one removes the wrong view of jiva atta momentarily. If one does not discern the nama rupa through the practice of satipatthana, then they believe in things that do not exist. What really exists are the nama and rupa, mental and physical phenomena. People have wrong belief that there is the jiva atta, living soul, in each of these nama rupa. They believe that there is something living soul within these nama rupa. Before the Buddha time, in India, there is such wrong belief. And even in the Brahma, they believe in the jiva atta, and the deva and the human, they also believe in jiva atta, the living soul. Believing in jiva atta, the living soul, they believe that it is I who is seeing, it is I who is hearing, it is I who is smelling, tasting, touching, knowing. And in this way, people believe in person, being. So there is the concept of person, being, and people take it as man, woman. In this way, there is the concept of man, woman, person, being. There involves the wrong view of jiva atta, the living soul. As the belief in the jiva atta has been in the being for many existences. That's why it is not easy to remove the wrong view of jiva atta. Buddha led the being so that the being could be free from the wrong view of jiva atta. There is no atta, no soul in the nama rupa, and the nama rupa are not the living soul themselves. And Buddha used the word anatta, non-self. Buddha taught in the Indian continent as well as the world that it is anatta. There is non-self. Even in the modern days, there are still a lot of people who have this wrong view of atta. In order to discern the truth, in order to remove the wrong view of atta, one has to practice Satipatthana meditation. By practicing Satipatthana meditation, one can discern the truth and one will remove the wrong view of atta. But still, the population of those who practice and who has removed the wrong view of atta is still very little. Such kind of wrong belief of jiva atta, the living soul, also exists in some of the Buddhists. So some of the people who call themselves Buddhists also have this wrong belief of jiva atta. It is called Atta-ditthi, wrong view of atta, as they believe that there is atta. By discerning nama rupa, one can remove Atta-ditthi momentarily. Only if one has attained the Sotapatti Magga, the first path knowledge, the person will totally eradicate the wrong view of Atta-ditthi to the point of no return. The Atta-ditthi, one believes in atta, that the atta exists within the nama rupa, and they have this wrong view not on the outside world but in the inside. And they believe that there is the atta in the nama rupa, and it is called Sakkayadhitthi. The word Sakkayadhitthi is made up of two words, Sakkaya and Ditthi. In the word Sakkaya, Sa means things that are existing, as Paramattha, the ultimate reality. And Kaya is the group of Rupa and Nama, group of physical and mental phenomena. The Nama Rupa, the mental and physical phenomena, can be discerned directly through the practice of Satipatthana, and thus they are the ultimate reality which really exists. So Sat here means the things that exist that can be discerned directly, and Kaya is the group of physical and mental phenomena. In the case of hearing, the sound strikes the ear sensitivity. So in the ear there are many particles of sensitivity, materiality. Also, the sound is the rupa, materiality, which is made up of many small particles. So these two, the ear sensitivity and the sound, are rupa kaya, materiality. And the sound waves come continuously one after another, striking the ear base. So in this way, the sound waves come repeatedly on the ear base and the hearing takes place. There will be hearing consciousness. Hearing consciousness is the Dhamma. In the ear, the sound and the hearing consciousness come into contact, and it is phassa, hearing contact. So long as there is the attention to the sound, hearing takes place. So hearing consciousness and hearing contact and hearing feeling, they are the Dhamma mentality. Based on whether the sound is pleasant or unpleasant, there will be pleasant and unpleasant feelings. And these are arising continuously, one after another. These Nama Rupa, mentality and materiality, could be discerned directly through the practice. Sat comes from Sanda, meaning the things that are existing as ultimate reality. And Kaya is the group of physical and mental phenomena. So Sakkaya is the physical and mental phenomena that exist, that can be discerned directly. If one does not discern correctly, there will be the wrong view of Jiva Atta, the living soul. They believe that it is the soul that is seeing, that is hearing. It is the soul that is governing. The soul is permanent. In this way, they have the wrong view that there is the soul in the Nama Rupa that are existing. That's why it is called Sakkaya. People believe as there is a living soul in these Nama Rupa, taking them as being, person, men and women. And also there is wrong belief that there is the Jiva Atta, living soul, in the being. Yogis are practicing Satipatthana meditation so as to remove Sakkayadhitthi, the wrong view of living soul. One should be noting the presently arising object the moment the object arises, with aim and effort, with sustained mindfulness, and when the mindfulness becomes strong, when Khanika Samadhi, momentary concentration, becomes strengthened, yogi discerns the Nama Rupa, mental and physical phenomena, directly through the practice. If one does not discern the Nama Rupa, the wrong view, such as person, being, men, women, exists. By discerning Nama Rupa, such wrong view will be removed, and Sakkayadhitthi is removed momentarily. In the state of Vipassana Jnana, insight knowledge, one removes Sakkayadhitthi momentarily, and when one develops knowledge, stage by stage, and finally when one's knowledge becomes mature, one realizes Sotapatti Magga Jnana, the first path knowledge, and one totally eradicates Sakkayadhitthi. So in this way, through the practice of Satipatthana, one has to weaken the wrong view of Jiva Atta or Sakkayadhitthi, and by attaining Ariya Magga, by attaining the first path knowledge, one totally removes the Sakkayadhitthi to the point of no return. Practicing Satipatthana meditation can guarantee to remove the Sakkayadhitthi by realizing Sotapatti Magga Jnana. So yogi has to be practicing according to the guidance in order to reach that stage of removing Sakkayadhitthi to the point of no. Buddha taught the beings, most important of all, to remove wrong view. During the Buddha's time in India, there were 62 kinds of wrong view. And in Digha Nikaya, in Brahmajala Sutta and Samanyaphala Sutta, there mentions the wrong views, how they believe. And there also explains how the Buddha believed. These 62 kinds of wrong view are rooted in Sakkayadhitthi. Having Sakkayadhitthi alone, it leads to 62 kinds of wrong belief. So long as Sakkayadhitthi has not been removed yet, people believe in many things, many ways, wrongly. That's why it is said, Dvasati Dethi Katani Sakkayadhitthi Mulakani, meaning that 62 Pamukhani. Dvasati Dethi Katani Sakkayadhitthi Pamukhani, meaning that 62 kinds of wrong view has Sakkayadhitthi as chief or leading view. So all these 62 wrong views are rooted in Sakkayadhitthi. And one, in order to remove all these wrong views, one has to remove Sakkayadhitthi. In order to remove Sakkayadhitthi, one should be mindful of the nama rupa that are arising, that are assisting. By discerning nama rupa, one removes Sakkayadhitthi momentarily by weakening it. Developing knowledge stage by stage, and when knowledge becomes mature, one realizes Sotapatti Magga, the first path knowledge, where one removes Sakkayadhitthi totally, and thus all the other wrong views will also be removed. In order to remove wrong views, one should be mindful of the resultants which are taking place as seeing, hearing, smelling, tasting, touching, and knowing. Due to the deeds, good and bad deeds, done in the past, the resultants take place in the form of seeing, hearing, smelling, tasting, touching, and knowing. The things that are seen, heard, smelled, tasted, touched, which are pleasant, are the resultant of good deeds done in the past. So the result of good deeds done in the past gives fruit as good ears. The ears are produced by the karma, deeds done in the past, supported by other factors, citta, udu, and ahara, mind, temperature, and nutriments. The sounds arise due to Udu temperature, and there are also sounds produced by the mind. And hearing consciousness, hearing contact, and hearing feeling are also resultant. Not being mindful of these resultants, such as seeing, hearing, then viriya, sati, and samadhi, effort, mindfulness, and concentration cannot develop, and there will be defilements arising. One does not discern the nama rupa. Not being mindful, not knowing arises, as well as there can be greed, wrong view of atta ditthi, and so on. And such not knowing, greed, wrong view of atta ditthi will be a new cause that is leading to further suffering. Not being mindful of the resultants, such as seeing, hearing, smelling, tasting, touching, knowing, there will be new causes arising in the form of not knowing, greed, atta ditthi, and thus there will be more resultants. And later on, Saraji will explain how the Paticca Samuppada, dependent origination, takes place. As soon as the hearing takes place, one should note it as hearing. Not being mindful at the moment hearing takes place, one will know wrongly, and if there are desirable sounds, there will be greed. If there are undesirable sounds, there will be hatred, aversion, anger. And not being mindful, there will be greed, anger, as well as the wrong view of atta ditthi, which is also called Sakkayadhitthi. Having greed, wrong view of Sakkayadhitthi, one performs more wholesome and unwholesome deeds, and when these wholesome and unwholesome deeds will also give more resultants, such as newer existences of nama, rupa. So that's why one should be mindful at the moment hearing takes place. Hearing is the resultant. One should be mindful of it when one hears, so that new causes will not arise. When new causes do not arise, there will not be more resultants. If the yogi is not mindful of the resultants, such as seeing, hearing, smelling, tasting, touching, knowing, there will be new causes. New causes will give rise to new results, and thus the round of suffering will keep on rotating. That's why one should be noting, being mindful of the resultants which are arising as seeing, hearing, smelling, tasting, touching, and knowing. Not being mindful, there will be new causes that will lead to more suffering. So in order not to produce new causes, one should be mindful of the nama rupa that are arising, so that new causes will not arise and the resultant will not be produced. That's why yogis have to be mindful of the object as soon as the object arises. The nama rupa that are arising in oneself are produced by four conditions: kama, citta, udu, and ahara. These consciousness, temperature, and nutriment. And these nama rupa are arising continuously. The nama rupa are called dukkha satya, the truth of suffering. Not knowing correctly, there will be knowing wrongly, and there will be craving. Craving is samudaya satya, the truth of origin of suffering. By being mindful of the object, by discerning, one is removing not knowing. So in this way, by being mindful, not knowing is removed momentarily, and there will be momentary cessation, nirodha satya. And one should be developing magga satya, the path that is leading to cessation. So one should be developing magga satya. By practicing Satipatthana meditation, by being mindful of the presently arising object, one is discerning dukkha satya. By noting every arising object, one discerns the nama rupa, and one removes craving that can arise due to not knowing. By being mindful, one removes craving. Craving has no chance to arise. So in this way, by being mindful of the presently arising object, one removes craving as not giving chance for craving to arise. So in this way, samudaya satya, the truth of origin of suffering, is removed. And by being mindful of the object, not knowing, craving are coming to a cessation momentarily. So in this way, there will be nirodha satya, momentary cessation. There will be tatanga nirodha, momentary cessation. And previously, Saraji explained that by noting the presently arising object, to analyze the noting, there involves viriya, sati, and samadhi, effort, mindfulness, and concentration, which is concentration group. Discerning correctly involves the two factors of panya makanga, wisdom group, and together with cetana sila, there will be 8 factors of the path. So in this way, by being mindful, there will be the preliminary path. One will be developing the preliminary path. In this way, by being mindful of the nama rupa that are dukkha satya, the truth of suffering, one discerns dukkha satya, the truth of suffering. Discerning dukkha satya, one removes craving, removing samudaya satya. And also one will be realizing that the tatanga nirodha, momentary cessation, and one is developing preliminary path. So in this way, by being mindful of dukkha satya, one will be discerning what should be discerned, removing what should be removed, realizing what should be realized, developing what should be developed. In this way, by being mindful of Buddha, the nama rupa that are arising at the present moment, discerning them, one is said to be doing 4 things at once: discerning dukkha satya, removing samudaya satya, realizing the momentary cessation, nirodha satya, and developing preliminary path, magga satya. So in this way, 4 things are done at the same time when the yogi is discerning the nama rupa by being mindful of them. But instead, if the person is not mindful of the nama rupa, the person will not discern. There will be not knowing. The person will not know the object. When there is not knowing, there will be craving, samudaya satya. So craving will not be removed. And also the defilements such as not knowing do not come to a cessation momentarily, and thus one is also losing the Tatthanga Nirodha, momentary cessation. And one will also be losing to develop the 8 factors of the path. Not being mindful of the nama rupa, one is failing to discern the dukkha satya, failing to remove the samudaya satya, failing to realize the momentary cessation, the Tatthanga Nirodha, and failing to develop the path, magga satya. So in this way, there will be losses by lacking mindfulness in the practice. So yogi should understand very well the loss and the profit. Yogi should be mindful of seeing, hearing, smelling, tasting, touching, knowing every single second. In this way, there should be mindfulness every single second, noting the object respectfully, meticulously, thoroughly, without stopping, in order to realize the 4 noble truths. By being mindful, one is doing 4 things at once: discerning the dukkha satya, removing the samudaya satya, realizing the Tatthanga Nirodha satya, and developing magga satya by developing preliminary path. And yogi is said to be making a profit in the practice. So Sayadaw would like to encourage very deeply not to lose, but to make profit, so that it will be worthy of coming such a long way. So Sayadaw would like to encourage the yogis to practice diligently, thoroughly, continuously, so that there will not be loss, but profit in the practice. And this will be all for today. Sadhu, sadhu.